Hello and welcome to another perlani video. So I wanted to do a quick follow-up on my previous video which I did regarding mechanical keyboards. I wanted to talk specifically about my Ducky One a little bit more in depth, as Ducky now has a whole plethora of One models ranging from the 60% models to the non-backlit ones to the RGB ones, so they have a lot of different One models. And I wanted to specifically compare it to the Shine 3, right? Which was which is a pretty similar board, but it does have quite a few important differences, right? So starting from the looks, compared to the Shine 3, the Ducky One has more narrow bezels, right? So it's been quote-unquote updated in that regard. It has two-stage feet compared with the Shine 3, so one small ones and the larger ones, right? Now I do have to say that the small ones are pretty flimsy compared with the larger ones, which are a lot more sturdy and will never move, pretty much. So yeah. Now the mini USB has been replaced with micro USB on the One. Also, the keycaps are now double shot ABS instead of standard ABS. And as you can see, mine's do shine already. Well, to be fair, I did use this board over a year, but they did start to shine within the 2 to 3 months. So this board also features multimedia keys. It has the calculator key, the mute key, volume down, volume up, just like pretty much all the keyboards. This was also featured on the Shine 3. Now the backlighting is white on my board. There are also boards with orange backlighting in some different colors. They also have the new RGB One models, so they have pretty much everything covered. In terms of DIP switches, this board has, just like the Shine 3, 4 DIP switches. Now there is a big difference between the DIP switches on the One and the Shine 3. So let me touch upon that a little bit more. So the Shine 3 had one DIP switch on the Shine 3, switched the control key and the caps lock key, right? Functionality, which I also mentioned in my previous video, which is really nice to have the control key over here. It's much more natural to me than the other way around, and since I don't use the caps lock key that much, I use the shift key for the uppercase letters. I don't mind having it all the way down here, right? So that was one DIP switch on the Shine 3. And the other one controlled the Windows key and the Alt key swap. So that is also pretty useful. It also disabled the Windows keys, which can also be useful for playing games, right? For those that play games. And the fourth DIP switch was the demo mode, which was pretty much for presentations and such. So those were pretty useful DIP switches, right? Now on the Ducky One, they are a little bit different, right? So 3 out of 4 DIP switches on this board control the positioning of the function key. Now the function key, as this board does not come with any software, the function key, with it you can change all the functionality on the board, right? So you can change the intensity of the backlighting, you can enable the mouse function on the numpad, which I'll get to a little bit later on. So with function key, you pretty much do everything on this board. Now, like I said, 3 out of 4 DIP switches are for configuring where to put your function key. So since the Ducky manual is pretty bad in explaining how to, or what different DAP switches do, I'm gonna quickly go and explain, if maybe you have a Ducky One, what the different DAP switches do. So in order to get the function key right over here where the left control key is, you have to put DAP switch 1 on off and 2 and 3 on, okay? If you want it over here where the left Windows key is, you have to put the DAP switch on, DAP switch 2 on off, and DAP 3 switch on. Over here where the left Alt is, you put DAP 1 on off, DAP 2 on off, and DAP 3 on. Now, if you don't want it anywhere, right, so the function key will be replaced with a old school menu key, then you put all 3 DAP switches on, okay? Now, if you want it where Alt GR is, you put DAP 1 on, DAP 2 switch on, and DAP 3 switch on off. If you want it where the Windows key is, then off, on and off. And by default, you have DAP switches 1, 2, 3 on off, of course. And if you want it where the right control key is, you put DAP switch 1 on, and DAP switches 2 and 3 on off. So yeah, like I said, pretty questionable decision to have 3 out of 4 DAP switches to move around the function key, but that is what they went with the one model. Now, DAP switch number 4 controls the NKRO rollover and the 6-key rollover functions. So by default, it will be NKRO rollover will be enabled, and I don't really see a reason why you would enable 6-key rollover unless I'm actually not quite sure. I think they implemented it because of legacy reasons for legacy operating systems, but so if you're having any compatibility issues. But like I said, no reason to switch from the NKRO rollover over USB. This board also features Cherry MX switches. Mine has Cherry MX browns. It has Cherry stabilizers. It has a dual layer PCB, which is nice. It doesn't feature any PS2 support, so you're limited to USB. But it does have a 1 millisecond response time, so it's pretty decent. Now, the numpad area can be used as a mouse, so you can navigate the mouse cursor via the numpad area. If you press function key and numlock key, you can enable this function. So you can move the mouse cursor to the left, to the right, down, up, left click, right click, scroll down, and I believe scroll up. Now, the reasons why you might use this is because if you don't use a mouse, like I haven't for a very long time, before I did graphical design, then if you really need a mouse cursor, you can enable it, and then navigate it, click something, and then disable it really fast. So yeah, not a bad feature to have. Now, the board itself weighs 1.3 kilos, which is pretty standard for a mechanical board. They mostly weigh around 1 to 1.5 kilos. Now, it is made in Taiwan. I believe only the Ducky 0 series is made in China, and the 1 series, the Shan 4, 5, and the other series are made in Taiwan. The keycap cooler, which you get with this board, is made out of plastic. It is entirely made out of plastic, and it is, it is pretty decent, but as always, it is better to get a wire puller instead of the keycap, just the plastic keycap puller. So I definitely recommend you get a wire puller, as this can very easily damage your keycaps. Also, in terms of some other stuff that I have observed, so the indicator lights are mushed in between the multimedia keys and the numpad area, right? What that means is that if you're sitting very close to the board and you're looking pretty much almost vertically down to it, you can see these indicator lights, right? But if you're laid back and you're typing like that, it is very hard to see these LED lights. And also to note, they shine really bright. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a board which has a indicator lights which light up as intensively as these ones. So keep that in mind as well. I don't mind it, but they do shine pretty bright. Now there's also a indicator light on the caps lock key, and you cannot switch this on to light up over here via DIP switches or with software, as this board does not come with one. You would have to do some soldering on the back of the board. So yeah, also a pretty interesting decision to have put a keycap with an indicator light, which does not light up on. Also, like I said, this keyboard does not feature any software, but it does. You can update the firmware on it, and I definitely recommend that you update the firmware at least to version 1.14 from the official Ducky site, which fixes the issue where the board might not be detected on system boot. So a lot of times before I upgraded to firmware 1.14, the keyboard would not be detected at boot, and I had to restart the system basically to be able to go into my BIOS. So yeah, these are some of the things that I definitely recommend regarding this board. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.